The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Portland, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31694. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new foam unit. In the front bumper is where you'll find two forward-facing attachment or tow hooks. Located above that, unit identifier number 24. Also in the driver's side front bumper is where you'll find the speaker for your siren and PA system. Moving up onto the front, you'll find the headlight cluster and also turn. In the grille, you'll find forward-facing emergency lights, and on the side front area, you'll find two side-facing emergency lights. Located just above the fender well, you'll find two air horns. Located just above the Freightliner logo is the pull mechanism for opening the hood. Moving to the side, you're going to find dual mirrors. You have a convex and a flat mirror. Moving up onto the brow of the apparatus, a forward-facing flood. You also have running lights on the top and also an emergency light bar. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. You'll find your air intake. Moving down to the step area, you'll find an air inlet chuck. You'll also find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. It's the silver cap. And then you'll also find in the blue cap your DEF fill location. Here's some close-ups of some of those. This is the air inlet. Diesel tank and also DEF tank. General view here of the side of the apparatus midship area. Let's get into some details here. First, in the upper left, you're going to find this warning label. This is the cross lay where your hoses come off. This is an entanglement and warning label. Moving up into the left-hand side gray area, this is going to be your master intake and master discharge, test ports for vacuum and pressure. You'll also find engine information regarding check engine, stop engine, and check transmission, your throttle control, and then also your panel lights. Moving down into the red area, you're going to find your foam system. This is a Husky Foam 12. In the center, you'll find your Acron control for the Master Stream device. And then you'll also find you have an electronic Acron valve. To the right, you're going to find your Deluce discharge gauge. As we look down at the bottom, you're going to find your Insight flow meter. This is a total flow from FRC. And then to the right, you'll find your number one discharge water foam gauge. Looking down at the lower section, you're going to find this warning label regarding only trained personnel should operate this equipment and to seek the owner's manual for advice. This is the schematic on your Husky 12 foam specifications and also a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards while opening. Moving from the warning label over to the right, you're going to find your number one discharge. And then moving down, you're going to find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. These are all 2.5 inch. This is your foam outlet. And then moving to the right, you'll find your foam tank fill location. Just above that, you'll find a warning label regarding not to mix different types of foam products. And then on the very far right, you'll find your auxiliary foam instructions. These are for foam inlet, and also there's a strainer inside that. Once again, do not mix the different types of batch foams, consistencies, or manufacturers. General close-ups here of the master intake and discharge and the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. As we move slightly to the right, you're going to find this is the engine information regarding the engine RPMs, voltage, oil pressure, and engine temperature. You do have a audible alarm. It is the black round device that can be dampered or
To the right of that, an alarm off switch, and then check engine, stop engine, and check transmission indicators. This is the Acuron Brass Company's module for controlling the individual nozzle on top of your apparatus. You can see you have deploy and stow, start and pulse, resume oscillation, stream, and fog, and then you have positioning. To the right of that, just a general view here. Once again, we've already talked about most of the items within this area. Let's move further down. Warning label. Once again, only trained personnel should operate and use the owner's manual for advice. Down at the very bottom, you'll find your large diameter pump intake. Moving to the right, you'll find these latches. These are to gain access behind the panel. There are 4 in this area. As we look to the very bottom, this is the auxiliary foam inlet and also strainer. In the pan door, you're going to find first information or instructions on the left-hand side of the door regarding the foam fill locations and operations. It's referring to the yellow handle Apollo valve. At the base, you're going to find the foam drains and also inlets and manifold drain. Up on top of the apparatus midsection, you'll find your master stream device. In the dunnage area is where you're going to find the foam fill for B foam. This is access from the top for your crosslays. And then just a general view, spinning around looking to the back, this is your hose bed area. As we look into the compartments, you will find adjustable shelving and also LED lighting in all of your shelves or all of your compartments. This is the location here for bottle storage. Let's move now to the section that houses just above the tire. This is pegboard and also a adjustable shelf with LED lighting. In the rear, you can see you have an additional adjustable shelves here. There are 2 along with LED lighting. As we look to the very bottom, you'll find a pull-out shelf. The mechanism to release is on the right-hand side of the actual rollers. In the back of the apparatus, you're going to find your brake, turn, reverse, and also flood. We do have a subsection of 2 switches here. We'll talk about those in a little bit. And let's move up further. This is your shore power, where your 110 power comes to power the apparatus, and also shore outlet. And at the very top, right and left, you'll find a combination flood spot pointing to the rear. You do have some warning stickers here regarding riding on the rear of the apparatus while in motion, and also not to stand or ride while in motion. Let's take a look at some of those. This is your shoreline power. This is the shoreline power on indicator on the left. You'll find the rear scene and hosebed lights. These are the switch to operate those 2 functions. At the very top, you will find an adjustable hosebed. And as we move to the rear center compartment, this is your dry chem with inside here a 500-pound tank, and you also have 2 fill tanks here at 2216 psi. There is instructions to activate the chemical system on the upper left-hand corner, and then also a gauge here regarding the types of pressure that you need. There's some close-ups as we move through some of the items here regarding the purge, bleed, and master. And as we look to the top, you'll find the gauges on the individual bottles themselves, and then also the setting for the actual pressure for discharge. This is your dry chem systems pressure gauge. And as we look up to the top of the apparatus, you will find top access for accessing this entire system. Let's go ahead and start down the passenger side of the vehicle. A couple of items here. 1, adjustable shelving, pull-out shelf down at the lower bottom. Right-hand side has the release mechanism. As we look, bottle storage also on the front and rear sections of the rear tire. I would like to point out there is a warning label at the bottom of this. This is for extremely hot diesel exhaust, and be cautious as to where you park, as to your exhaust may cause issues for the items around it. Additional storage here, LED lighting and adjustable shelves. Let's move forward to this location, mid-pump location. Once again, warning label regarding operating or standing on the side of the apparatus. You also have an additional warning label here regarding those lines coming off the side for potential entanglement. and then also pressurized caps. This is the location for your large diameter intake and also the discharges for the offside of your vehicle. This is the passenger side floodlight control and also the passenger side water foam discharge gauge. This is your number 2 in orange. It is a 2.5 inch discharge. This is the drain for that number 2 discharge, as you can see labeled and color coded. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find a foam outlet. This is also a 2.5 inch. And as we move to the very front, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet, 2.5 inch. Let's take a look at the side. You do have on the right and left side of your vehicle pole lights. This is the adjustment for it, release to lift and retract, and then to secure. There is also LED lighting in the dunnage area for firefighter safety, and this is the hydraulic oil reservoir. There is a sight gauge on the side, as you can see. As we move to the side of the apparatus, this is the battery box location along with your steps. This is your Portland Fire Rescue, established in 1883. And then as we look inside the cab, you will find some additional warning labels. But let's move inside the cab now, talk about some of the items here. First, this is your data recorder for your vehicle. And as we move through the cab, you have a rear light in the back along with some attachment points or hooks. And then you also have, as we move to the front, this important red indicator. This is, if on, indicating that you have a door ajar or a compartment open and not to move your apparatus. General view of the dash of your vehicle. Let's break down some of the items here. First, yellow, pull to apply your parking brake or push to release. As we move to the left, this is going to be all of your regen information. And then down at the very bottom, you'll find your mirror heat. Let's move through some of the other items here as we move to the right of this location. First, starting with your front scene, driver's scene, passenger side scene, and also rear scene. You also have perimeter lights, a future switch location. Those lights all illuminate when lit at the very end. There also is the Pierce seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat but not belted, green indicating they're in the seat and they are belted. Let's move down to the next set of switches. First, starting with the red switch, which is your high idle. You have an indicator light ending OK to engage the high idle. You do have a foam PTO and foam PTO engaged indicator, a load manager, low voltage, and door open indicator. This is your climate control. And then we'll move now to the driver's seat. When plugged into shore power, the green indicator will light and you'll also get a DC amperage reading. You have comfort controls here for your air ride seat. And as we move all the way to the top, you'll find this placard, which is in yellow, manufacturing placard. We'll talk about that in a moment. Looking at the door handle, you can see you have manual window lock or window roll-up windows. Down in the lower section, this is your master battery switch on and off. And then as we look, you'll also find once again the shoreline power. When you're plugged into the rear of the apparatus, your DC amps will register here. This is your manufactured by Pierce placard for the City of Portland Fire Rescue. This is the date of manufacture, job number. It also has your gross vehicle weight ratings, and it also has all of the devices, fluid capacities, and fluid types. This is also location for your VIN number. This is a keyed start located here. As we move up to the top, we'll start at the very top and move down. You have speed control, accel resume, set coast. You also have your headlight control and increase decrease for your cab lights on the dash. Also on the right hand side, you'll find your turn indicator and windshield wash. And let's take a look at the dash now at the gauges. First on the left, you have your transmission, water, and oil. You have your speedometer and your tachometer. You also have a combination, which is your fuel and DEF. That's a 2-part gauge. You have air for the front and also for the rear, and then you have a display in the center. Moving to the right, you'll find your traction control, and then moving to the right of that, you'll find your filter minder. This is indication the air filter restriction. Down in the lower section is your Allison transmission pad. It does have a digital readout in the select area and the monitor area. Let's move further to the right, or I should say close-ups here. This is your automatic traction control and also your filter minder. You do have a pull string for your air horns. And let's move now on to the dash area, center area of the cab. You'll find your emergency master, a roof light, front warning lights, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Once again, at the end of each of those lights is the LED illumination for when it is in the on position, it will turn green. Moving to the right, you're going to find your Whelen siren and also PA speaker. Congratulations, Portland Fire Department, on your new foam truck. Job number 31694. If you have any questions regarding this apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations and thank you.